to Kristen Kelly TV. This is going to be the review of Bad Girls Club episode 4 of season 15. I am so sorry that I was late in bringing this to you. I was on vacation. I was in Hawaii with Amber Mead, as you can see in the last few reviews. And then we just got back the other day. I've been unpacking, and on top of that, we had blackout yesterday, which lasted for hours. So I was unable to film / edit yesterday. So I'm filming now. I'm still kind of like, about the delay in time and everything, or like the jet lag, I guess you could say. And then also I'm still unpacking. So sorry, I'm kind of crazy, but I just watched the episode. I actually watched it last night and I didn't take notes. And then I realized I have to watch it again and take notes. So I watched it again. I took notes, and yeah, so let's get into it. First of all, I'm not sure what the name of this episode was. I didn't catch that, so sorry about that. But this is Twisted Sisters, Bad Girls Club, episode 4, season 15. So the recap begins, it's like a recap of the past, 4 episodes. Or 3 episodes, start talking about, Olivia, crying about cancer, and the other girls are going nuts about it. And then it's also talking about, just everything that pretty much happened in the last 3 episodes. So that was a good recap, because I don't know if they do that every week, which maybe they do, and I just have not caught it before, but I really liked that they did that to kind of catch you up. And Angela is right. She really can't fuck with a liar. They're talking about Olivia, and Olivia, being saying oh, I have cancer, and all this stuff about cancer, and all the girls going crazy. And Angela is saying to Diamond, I maybe you and I can be cool in the future, but I can't fuck with your sister. And I agree with that, the fact that she, she did lie. So she is going to be on AfterBuzz next week. So I will get to talk to her, and Jesse will get to talk to her. So I do have a lot of questions for her, because I am the whole thing about her having cancer is very weird to me. I know that Amber talked last week about, people grieve differently, and people, come up with things differently. I understand that totally, and I get the whole grieving thing. However, the fact that she went on national television and said she had cancer is very strange to me. So I definitely want to get her side of the opinion. So make sure you turn into AfterBuzz next week, because she will be live on the show. So she'll be able to, tell us what she thinks and her opinions. However, I don't know what she's going to say that's different. She has said, oh, I thought that I had cervical cancer. I went to a doctor and they had said this, but then I didn't go to another doctor. So I get that she said that, and I'm not sure what else she can say that's different than that, other than the fact that she went off in an assumption. And I mean, it was just stupidity. It really is. It's you're not a doctor. You can't be a doctor. You're not, you can be a doctor, but you're not a doctor right now. You can't say, oh, I have cancer. So unless, she did go to a doctor and she did get that information, that's completely different. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what she has to say. Okay, I do feel bad for Olivia, and that is something that I know, Amber was really on her side last week, and when I reviewed my review, I did think I came off a little harsh, because of the fact that I kind of was well, you don't have cancer, go fuck yourself. I don't want to come off like that, because I don't think that she ever really thought she had cancer. That is true. I do think that she wanted attention, and I do think that she may have heard, oh, there's something wrong in your pap smear, and then she just went off on this crazy tangent in her head. I do think that she did that. But I also feel really bad for her, because I feel that she was probably holding that inside and then got drunk. It's a very big experience being in the Bad Girl's house. Went kind of crazy, said, oh, I think I have cancer, or said that I have cancer. I have stage 3 cancer. And then when it kind of all came crashing down on her, I think that she really did feel bad about it. And I think you can just tell in her how she's acting that she's really beat, she's acting as if she's a stray dog that has been abused, because I feel she doesn't want to bring any more attention to herself. Okay, so the girls don't want to talk to Olivia. So Jasmine and Jamie, the stripper twins, which I love. Oh my god, Jasmine and Jamie, they just gave me life. They were so sweet and they were so real. And Lachelle, their mom, a bitch can do it by herself. I loved that quote. So good for you, Lachelle, teaching those girls to, be independent ladies. I loved them. I loved that they were real. I loved they were fun. I loved that they didn't like give a fuck what anyone thought about them. You know, they were like, this is who I am, and if you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. Like, I love them. I love their relationship. I love how they're sisters, but they're close. I love how they're real about, like, yeah, we compete with each other. Like, yeah, she takes, you know, my customers in the strip club. I don't like that. I like that they had, you know, no airs about them. They were just, this is who we are, and if you don't like it, like, fuck off. Like, we're having fun. I love that about them. And I believe that on their own, these two sisters would be great on their own. I feel like these two sisters on their own could be in the Bad Girls Club, where I feel like a lot of these other sisters, they're strong because they have an alliance already. I feel like they definitely could have walked in this house by themselves and been just as bad and just as real. Okay, so Melissa and Allison. I love them. First of all, I remember them from MySpace, and actually my outfit and my bow is homage to the Millionairesses. I like them. It's funny because they seem so wild and crazy. You know, you see them with like all of their tattoos and their hair, and like you think, wow, these girls are going to be so wild. And even in their you know, the little tape of them getting in, they're like, oh, you know, we drink, like drinking. They are so mature and so different than their appearances come off, which they even had said that, you know, people look at them and they think, you know, like they think of them as being one way because of how they look. They definitely look like so wild, but they're very, like, I felt like I was watching like the Kennedys or something, just the way that they spoke. They're very mature, they're very sophisticated, they have their shit together. Like, those girls, you can tell they have their shit together. You know, I feel like they put on this like rock and roll they put on this like rock and roll, I don't know, like attire, or this rock and roll like attitude where they're like, yeah, like rock and roll, and you're like, we drink, we smoke, we party, like, but I really just feel like they, you know, are at home on a Saturday night, you know, planning what they're going to be doing for their next, you know, business move. So I really liked them. So the four of those girls meet, and I love the fact they put them together to go in the house, because after the last time those other girls were just like trampled on, the ghost twins, they really did need, you know, all to go in together. So I really loved that. I loved that they went in together. Diamond sees the new girls, and, you know, I just feel like Diamond is just fucked over because Olivia, like, they're just all in this, like, weird, you know, it just sucks because of the whole cancer thing of Olivia, you know, lying and being kind of crazy. So the other girls are just, like, really hateful, you know, like, they have no reason. I just feel like they're like, we're originals, like, da-da-da. The new girls are so much better than the original cast. I don't know how the original cast even, like, got on the show, because they are so, like, there's just such a snore. They're so just boring. And I know that a lot of the girls from the season watch my show, so hi, because I did get like a bunch of tweets and stuff from them, and I'm not going to say who, but Amber even wrote one of the girls and was like, you shouldn't care what we write, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but this is a review show, and I understand that, you know, as original Bad Girls, like, you look at myself and Amber and anyone else, and you think like, oh, you know, we have all the answers. We don't. I'm just watching as a viewer, as a fan, so don't take what I say to heart, but at the same time, like, I just felt like it was very weird that a lot of the girls tweeted at me, being like, you don't know this, and you don't know that. Well, honey, I wasn't on the show. You know that, right? You know I wasn't in your house, so don't take it to heart. Like, calm the hell down. And if you don't want to be blasted, don't go on TV. If you don't want people to judge you, don't go on TV. It's that simple. So the girls are all, like, just hate-filled. They're all like, oh, my God, look at her bow about Melissa and Allison. It's like, girls, just calm down. So Jasmine and Jamie, who are everything, they're just so fun, and they love each other. They're just like, we want to dance, we want to party, it's like, this is the bad girls' house. A lot of these girls, like Amber and Asia, like, everybody, and, like, they're all like, we're too good for this, we're too good for that. This is the bad girls' house. Like, you get that, right? Like, you go there so you can drink, and you can, like, fuck boys, and you can party, and, like, you can have a good time. I just feel like all of the original girls are so consumed with, what are we doing? How do we look? How is the public perceiving us? It's like, just calm the fuck down and have fun. Like, I love Jamie and Jasmine because they're like, we're coming here, we're gonna have fun, we're living our lives. Where the other girls, I just feel like, are too consumed with how they look. So Olivia's like, we're the originals to Amber, and Amber's like, okay, like, that's cool, you know, we know that you're a liar. And it's true. It's, you know, I understand that Olivia is thinking she's going to use this opportunity to, like, chime in and be like, we're the originals, so that she's part of it. It's like, girl, like, you're the original, like, batshit crazy one, you know? Like, calm down. And that was just so stupid to me that she was, like, screaming for the originals. Like, I just hate that in every season, how they're like, the replacements against the originals, the replacements against the originals. I mean, we did it in my season. I feel like the girls do it in every season, but it's like, just because you've known these girls a little bit longer doesn't mean these other ones aren't cool as fuck. Because all 4 of the replacements, I feel like, are so awesome, and, like, I would chill with immediately. But I was kind of thinking, like, if I was in their place, like, if I had been in the house, and then these girls came in, would I be doing the same thing? Like, rolling my eyes, being a bitch? Would I do that? I don't know. Would you do that? I don't know. It's like, we're not in their position, so we don't know. And the Millionairesses go up on stage, and they killed it. They're so good. Like, I love them. I love their rhymes. I loved everything. I feel like Oxygen should be paying them to, you know, to use their music in the shows. So they're really good. The girls are just hating. They're like, oh, that was so cute. That was so cute. Saying to somebody that was so cute about a performance is so stupid. It's so, like, just bitchy, you know, instead of saying, like, oh, you're so talented, or oh, that was such a good performance, saying, that was cute. Honey, they're not a newborn infant or a kitten. Saying something is cute is not cute. It's stupid and cunty. So the Millionairesses, they just, like, killed it. I love that their, like, whole thing is, you know, like, their girl power, like, men want to say shit about, you know, women, and, like, they want to say shit about, like, you know, like, I like that they're, like, feminine, empowering. So, the girls are playing a drinking game, and, I mean, Angela is just so fucking annoying at this point. I don't know, because in the beginning, I really liked Christina, and I really liked Angela, like, a lot. And then Christina is getting progressively, I feel like, more crazy, which I did this myself. So I understand where Christina is becoming, because I did this myself. When I was on my season, in the beginning, I was, like, very normal, but then as you know, the cameras are around you, and there's, like, people in your ear saying, like, act up and do this, you get more and more crazy because you think it's, like, good for the show. I think that Christina is doing that same thing. Because you can tell from episode to episode, Christina is, like, getting more vocal and more crazy for, like, really no reason. So I think there's definitely people in her ear. But Angela, to me, in the beginning, was, like, really chill. She was really cool, you know. She looked great when she did her hair and makeup. But Angela is becoming more and more annoying. And her voice is even I mean, I know I have, like, a Valley Girl voice, even though I'm from Boston. But her voice is becoming more and more, like, Valley Girl, like, wait, I wrote a quote. It was like, these girls are getting fucked up, and I'm loving it. Like, are they telling her? Like, I don't know if the producers are telling her, you know, we want you to be more like this, or maybe they did, like, 15 takes, and that was the most annoying ones. They picked that take. I don't know. But Angela, just everything about her is becoming more and more annoying to me as a viewer. So I don't know. I would love to have her on AfterBuzz and talk to her, because I did in the beginning, like, really like her. So I'm kind of confused about where it's just, she seems to be becoming, like, a different person. Both of them, Christina and Angela, both seem to be becoming, like, different people in each episode, you know, and kind of veering off the path. Where the other girls, like Amber, Asia, like, they seem to be, you know, the same people. Okay, so they're, you know, doing the drinking game, which we did on my season, girl. Like, that's not new, you know, to do the whole, we're giving you alcohol and you're taking water. Wait, did I skip that in my notes? Hold on. Oh, yeah, so they're, you know, they're giving her water, and then the Millionairesses are like, they're just so, I feel like they're so put together, they're just like, we're not dealing with it, you know, they're both just like, okay, well, they're drinking, that's their own prerogative, and I feel like they're so politically correct. That's why I like the Millionairesses, because I do not feel like they're trying to be fake for television. I just feel like that's their personalities, is that they are more regal than the other girls. So I like that they were like, you know, they're doing their own thing. And then I loved that I loved her quote when she said, like, they give them the bottle, or we gave them the bottle and they gave us their lives, or what did she say? Give them the bottle and they give you the world. You know, we gave them the bottle, give them the world, which is true. But I feel like they're very open. I feel like Jasmine and Jamie would have been open no matter what if they were drinking or not. I feel like they truly felt like the girls were, taking them in as friends and talking to them. So they wanted to, talk to them. But also, don't forget, these girls are strippers. Like, Jamie and Jasmine, if you are a stripper, you are around, like, very catty, crazy other girls a lot. So, you have got to be strong. I feel like these girls are strong girls in order to be strippers, like, mentally, emotionally, everything, like they had said. So, I feel like they were nice to the other girls and doing the drinking game. But then, Jamie puked, and I felt bad for everybody in the situation because, first of all, if you're going to get somebody, like, drunk like that, and if they puke, I'm sorry, honey, but that's your fault. Second of all, I felt bad for Jamie because you could tell she was, like, so drunk / hungover when they were talking to her about cleaning. And I get the other girls because they were like, you gotta clean this, you can't throw up, and then, that was nasty, you can't throw up and then leave it and think that it's okay. But I get that the other girls were like, come on, like, you gotta clean this. You can't, like, leave throw up around, So it was good that she eventually cleaned it. But that whole situation, like, I felt bad for Jamie. I felt bad for the other girls. I can't believe they only have one bathroom. I mean, that in itself is like, girl, how is that even possible? And then, so the millionairesses were, like, kind of talking, and they were like, well, like, we're all going out. And Allison was saying, well, I don't think that she bathed. I don't think she took a shower. Which now that we know there's like 10 girls with one shower, I mean, I can see why somebody wouldn't bathe. That seems like you'd be waiting, all day to take a shower. But that was just, like, even funny how Allison was saying that, like, so politically correct. She's like, well, the other girls, we want to take a shower, and they're, like, they haven't taken a shower, and when I go to a club, I like to be clean and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, I mean, I get that, but I feel like this girl was just puking, and to her, probably just going to a club and drinking more is better than taking a shower and, smelling clean, because she knows that she wants to get more camera time. Like, she was saying herself that, they want to do appearances. Well, girl, the only way you're going to do appearances is if you get a lot of camera time and people see you as, like, a fun girl, so I get that. So the original girls, they wanted to, like, leave their replacements, and the replacements were not having that, which Jamie and Jasmine, who are everything, were like, girls, and they were, like, waiting for them. Oh, and then that whole thing with, like, Angela, when she was sleeping in bed, and she's like, I'm trying to sleep, and you're being loud, and blah, blah, blah. Once again, this is the bad girl's house. Another thing, what time was it? Because none of the other girls seemed to be sleeping. And why was Angela sleeping in 4 pounds of makeup? Like, she had full eyelashes on. She had full winged mascara on. Her makeup looked great, don't get me wrong. But, girl, why were you sleeping with that much makeup on? Which made me think, was she just, like, taking a nap? Were they about to go do something else? Or does Angela have some kind of psychological problem where she has to sleep in her makeup? I don't know. I'm just saying it was weird to me. And Jasmine was right. Christina did look stupid when she was screaming. She was like, my sister's been trying to sleep and blah, blah. I mean, it was just too much. It was so weird. And I love how they paused on Jasmine's face, and she was like, because it really was. She went to 0 to 60 real quick. And it's just weird, too, because I feel like Christina has a lot of bark, but, like, how much bite does she have? I would like to see her get in a fight with one of the girls, because, I mean, Christina's, like, kind of a big girl. Like, I mean, not in, like, a fat way. I mean, like, she seems healthy. She seems, like, kind of muscular. I feel like I'd like to see her get in a fight with one of these other girls because she's so loud about it. It's like, you're going to be loud about it. Better be able to back that up, sweetheart. Oh, and then Allison, I felt like, was really trying to be, and Amber is like, I feel like Amber at this point in general is like, she's way too mature for the Bad Girls Club. Like, Amber is beautiful, she is smart, she is very sophisticated, but, I mean, this is the Bad Girls Club, this isn't, Big Brother. I feel like Amber would be great in Big Brother. I just feel like Amber was too, like, she was too mature. She was, like, oh, they need to use their inside voices. I'm sorry, honey, go back to Harvard. Like, this isn't, it's the Bad Girls Club. And then Allison, I felt like, was being really real when she was like, hey, like, let's talk about this, you're being, like, really loud. She was talking to Jamie and Jasmine as a friend. And I feel like the girls really were brick-walling it. They really, like, they just didn't care about how the other girls perceive them, which is their own deal, if they want to act like that. So they went to the strip club, which actually I saw on TMZ that was not like a real strip club. That was a real strip club, but when they filmed, those real strippers weren't there. Those were like fake strippers because they wanted to they needed to film with strippers, and the strippers like weren't getting paid, so that's why they wouldn't, be on the show. So they go to the strip club. And then Angela says a comment of like, well, I don't want a girl, dancing up all on me. Which is another thing is that, Christina had said previously, like, oh, I don't want to shower, or I'm not going to shower with my sister. She even like tweeted at me and was like, that's disgusting. I would never shower with my sister. So Christina and Angela both seem to have like a problem with like nudity and their own bodies and seeing other women's bodies. So that to me, I'm wondering, are they like from a very Catholic family? Is that just like how they grew up, being ashamed of their bodies? I don't know. It's just weird to me because even though I never have had a sister, I don't claim to have. I went to boarding school. I was always around girls that were naked. I remember my first day of school, this girl, Missy, was completely naked, had her hair in a towel, and was walking, dripping through the hallway, and I was like 13. I just personally have never felt like the female body was anything to be ashamed of. And I get that, she doesn't want, I'm a straight girl, but I have no issue seeing other girls. And yeah, if you feel uncomfortable, just say, please get away from me. But, we don't know the whole story there. Okay, so then the girls were talking about hating the twerking sisters. Amber's goodbyes were so funny when she was, kind of touching everyone's face, and she's like, and they slow-moed it. These editors, they deserve, way more money than they're probably getting. So that was really funny. And then Jasmine is funny as hell. She's like, we got an altercation, but this is the best night ever. Jasmine to me is just really funny. And I don't know the age of all these girls because I feel like I'm getting conflicting results or conflicting comments from people saying like, oh, this girl's this age. I do feel like Jasmine and Jamie are the youngest, and I feel like that's probably why they're the most entertaining because that they are not taking it too seriously like the other girls are. So they get into that fight, and it's just, Jasmine is, she kicked somebody in the chest, she said, or someone got kicked in the chest. The whole fight was really stupid to me. It ended so quickly. Go back to Bad Girls Club Season 1, there was no security, and I feel like it made for a better show. I feel like these girls rely too much on security is going to jump in, so they don't have to really fight. Jasmine and Jamie didn't do anything. Yeah, they're loud. Yeah, they're being crazy, but I can understand why that would be annoying. If you lived with them all day long, I can get why that would be annoying. But I feel like the other girls, aren't, really giving them an opportunity. We don't, honestly, at this point, is this 2 days in? We don't know how many days they've even been together. So Amber, flips out, which Amber looked beautiful, by the way, before she flipped out. She looks so good. And I want to know her, workout routines and her diet because she looks amazing. So Melissa gets fucked up in the fight, but she was kind of fine. It was just funny because I feel like in past seasons, girls would be so angry. They'd be like, I got hit. You remember, I think it was one of, the Victor twins had gotten hit by accident, and she went crazy, it was so extra, I got hit in the head, and blah, blah, blah. I feel like Melissa could have done that. I feel like Melissa could have been like, I got hit in the head, and da-da-da. But they were just they didn't even want to deal with it. And then, Amber, is like, I'm not going to go home. They kind of did, a voiceover where Amber said, I'm not going to go home, blah, blah, blah. I think that Amber should go home. Amber started a fight. So Asia, ran up in that fight, and I think Asia was really about running up. I definitely think, it was very stupid to me, or it was very, mob mentality. It also didn't make the girls look, tough. The fact that Jasmine and Jamie were sitting down, yeah, they were being loud, but they weren't putting hands on anybody. I think the other girls, when Amber, went up on them, Asia ran in. So I definitely think that Amber and Asia should go home. They were, starting this fight. I think it's even funnier at the fact that, Jasmine and Jamie's reactions, they killed me. They're like, we got in a physical altercation, but this is the best night ever. I love that. Okay, so my predictions for next week are that it finally comes out that Diamond and Olivia are not sisters, which I had never, and I know that a lot of people are like, oh, you heard about it at the reunion or whatever. I did not know that they were not sisters. I had just, from watching it, seen and thought, I feel like these girls are not sisters. I even remember last season that somebody tweeted at me and said, oh, the following season there's gonna be girls that aren't sisters, that act like sisters, and I had forgotten that, but then I knew, I was like, those are, that's the girls. So predictions that they come out as not sisters, predictions they leave, because really 10 girls is too many girls to have in the bad girls house. I'm trying to think what else. I think that I'm hoping maybe Allison and Melissa like come out of their shells a little bit, because I feel like they're definitely like, more reserved girls. They didn't want to they didn't even care that they had to sleep in the same bed or they had to put their stuff together. I feel like I really love them. They're very mature, but I'd like to see them like a little bit more turned up. So I want to see that. I think that Amber and Asia go home. I hope that Amber and Asia go home, because even though Amber was the first one to run up, Asia, like, she went quick behind her sister to, like, punch some girls, or punch some girls or hit some girls that were, sitting down, and they ripped her top off. It's like, oh, and then I thought it was so funny that Amber wants to act so mature. Amber's like, they pulled my hair, and I don't like that when girls pull hair. You pulled her shirt off. Like, they acted like they were a bunch of hyenas for no reason. Whatever, stupid girl stuff. But yeah, that's my predictions. Thank you guys so much for watching. Next week, I will not have a review show on my channel because I will be back on AfterBuzz. So please make sure you tune in to AfterBuzz. Please subscribe to my channel, like my video, leave me any comments, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Love you.